Mr. Hopper? Mr. Bill, what happened to you?
Oh, gee, we had a big party at the end of last season, and I guess I drank too much and I must have passed out. And when I came to, I was trapped in here and couldn't get out.
Oh, you poor little fella. Well, gee, everybody's been wondering what the heck you've been doing.
Gee, yeah, that's right. I was supposed to do a whole bunch of important things before I got trapped in here. Boy, I bet Benji is really mad at me. I was supposed to co-star with him in a movie. I sure hope they got a decent replacement.
It's a silly idea anyway, Mr. Bill. I'm sure it wasn't important.
Say, Chevy, am I late for the new season?
Well, yeah, you're a little late, but they all are. Gee, Mr. Bill?
Yeah, be careful.
I get this feeling they just don't have time for old-timers like us anymore. The fans just don't care that much.
Oh, come on now, Chevy. Don't feel that way. Hey, look, we can make a comeback, huh? Hey, and, they were even talking to me about anchoring Weekend Update. Say, maybe you can do those funny faces behind my back like you used to, huh? Hey, that'd be funny.
That's a funny idea.
Hey, what's that? Hey, Chevy, come on.
I'll tell you something. Mr. Bill, I don't think they really care about slapstick anymore. Kind of out of the way. Maybe we can come up with something else.
Hey, wait, stop! Wait! Hey, Chevy, I'm down there on the floor. Could you please help me?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Bill. Gee whiz. Almost lost you for a second there.
Listen, Chevy,
Must be exhausted.
listen, have you seen my dog Spot lately? I sent him for help last year.
Look, Spot, I'll look around. I don't know. Uh-oh.
Hey, what was that, Spot?
I don't know. I stepped on something.
Oh,
no.
Hey, Chevy, you ought to be more careful
Spot.
when you step.
I can get him off. Don't you worry about a thing.
Hey, you watch that sword, Chevy.
I'll just get him off. Don't worry.
No, come on, watch out. Leave him alone. Go away.
Tell you what. You relax here. Easy.
Watch out, be careful.
I'm not going to step on him again. Live from New York, it's Saturday Night.
All right, this is Not Ready for Season 6, where we discuss the much-maligned 6th season of Saturday Night Live. We want to know, did it have promise? Was it as rough as some people have said? We just want to explore a lot of the nuances that make this a very interesting transitional season of Saturday Night Live. Joining me, my co-host, maybe a little bittersweet this week. I don't know, Jeremy, since this is the last episode of Season 6 that we're covering. But nonetheless, my co-host, along for the journey, along for this odyssey that we've taken for Season 6, Mr. Jeremy Dove.
Hey, man. Yeah, this is. It just blows me away that it went so fast. And we are on the finale of just one of the most talked about seasons, for better or for worse, in SNL's history. And I knew how many episodes. Like, I looked at it, like, going in. I still felt like, oh, this is going to take a little while.
Right.
This has flown by. I feel like we just started this, like, 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, man, we're done the season.
Yeah, I feel like we just barely pitched Brad and Gary that we wanted to do Season 6.
Yeah. I feel like April, May, and then
this has been an idea that you and I have been cooking up for a while, actually, like since sometime last year. If you brought it up, you're like, oh, man, would you want to do something about Season 6? That's kind of an interesting. I'm like, yeah, that is. And I've never. So we started cooking this up a long time ago and started pitching Brad and Gary, and they are good stewards of the network, and they said yes, have at it. They were so kind to give us a little slot in the Not Ready for Primetime project. So this has just flown by so much. I can't believe we're at the end here, man.
Nah, it really has, and especially these last few weeks, there's just been so much happening. I'm kind of envious. Like, I wish I was around in, like, early 81 to kind of in real time see, like, all this stuff happening. And I know, like, obviously it's not like the way it is today with the internet and all those, chat groups and the Reddit forums, but still, just to be, if you're, a big SNL fan back in 81, and just how eventful these past 3-4 weeks have been. Well, and then going on like another month off.
Exactly.
And then what's happening here, I'm like, it's just, man, it gets me excited now, like 45 years later. I can't imagine what it was like as an SNL fan back in 81.
Yeah, absolutely. And so this week, it is episode 13 of season 6, which aired April 11th, 1981. You mentioned they had a month off. I think the last one was like March 7th. So they have a little over a month off to kind of retool. Host, no credited host, actually, this week. Although I think there was somebody who kind of like shepherded some of the proceedings tonight. I think so. But no official accredited host. Junior Walker and the All-Stars are your musical guests. Another musical guest that I might owe an apology to, honestly, now that I think about it. So I know him pretty well, yeah. I had to think about it. Yeah, exactly. So, Jeremy, this is the first episode of the Dick Ebersol era officially. We're already there. I can't believe that. But Ebersol is no stranger, obviously, to SNL. He helped with Lorne Michaels conceive of the show and helped it get up and running. And he's even no stranger to season 6 of SNL, right?
No, not a stranger at all. He had watched the previous episode, was kind of lurking, seeing what was going on. Brandon Tartikoff had called him in, who was president of the network and was a Yale. They both went to Yale together, so they were friends, and was pretty much calling him in to try to like see what's wrong with the show and if he can honestly save the show. And Dick Ebersol said he said watching it, how it was, and he said he was in like, the control room, seeing how it was operating behind the scenes. And he just said overall it was worse than what he could imagine. So it needed to be retooled. He was very smart in the fact that he knew what he needed in the grand scheme of things. Because Dick Ebersol doesn't have a history in comedy. He's not a comedy guy at all. He is a network executive. He was mostly in sports. So he was very smart in knowing that the show needed to be retooled. You needed to make cuts, get back to what makes Saturday Night Live. But also, and most importantly, you need to have Lorne Michaels' blessing so that people who are associated with the first 5 years feel comfortable helping out and giving ideas and promoting the show. So he has that conversation with Lorne. He says, and I kind of agree, like one of the 5 most important conversations in the history of the show was they met up at either Lorne's apartment or Dick Ebersol, somebody's apartment, and they talked all throughout the night, and Lorne gave his blessing and said he didn't want to see the show get canceled, and he kind of put the word out to everybody, and Dick Ebersol, as we see like tonight, had like some of the old cast members and old people associated come on back.
Yeah, that's interesting. So Lorne did help save season 6 and beyond. So he was part of it as far as Dick Ebersol wanted his blessing to continue.
Yeah.
And good on Ebersol.
Absolutely.
I mean, he didn't have to do that, but I mean, he felt that was important, right? And then he had a link then to a lot of the season 5 folks that you said we did see tonight.
Yeah, it was smart. It was because I think who knows if Gene, and maybe she couldn't have done it. I don't know if they would have taken. Maybe time had passed. It had been probably a year since like Lorne. You knew Lorne wasn't coming back, so maybe it wouldn't have worked with Gene. But if Gene would have been able to have Lorne's blessing at the beginning of the season, you never know. Maybe that changes things, and she could have had old cast members come back more. Some of the old writers come back and help. Like, who knows if it's a different story for Gene Domanian.
Yeah, right. And so Ebersol and then the staff had to make some decisions that you would alluded to, or making cuts and whatnot. So Ann Risley, Gilbert Gottfried, and Charles Rocket have been let go in the past month. So I think I kind of separate them into 2 different categories. Like Ann and Gilbert, to me, Jeremy, just weren't cut out for the show. And Gilbert maybe could have improved. He had more of a comedic background. He was a stand-up. He would go on to great success in the stand-up in the comedy world. But I think Gilbert and Ann, hard, they couldn't find their footing as much. And Charles, though, I think he was good. And I think if it weren't for saying the F word, I think he would have been retained at least for this last episode.
He probably would have been retained for the last episode. I think you would have had to have gotten rid of him, though. I just think Charles is an actor. Like, we see later on after this, he does act. He plays that smarmy kind of like character. He played it well, but I do think, like referencing the episode before, but what Bill Murray said, he was trying to do a Bill Murray impression and trying to be Bill Murray. And maybe if he just would have been a little bit more like finding his own lane, it could have been better. I think he did, like, obviously the Rocket Report, like we both enjoyed throughout the season. There's a few sketches he appeared in where he kind of surprised you, especially later on in the season, and made you laugh. But his impressions were bad. His Weekend Update was horrendous. It has to be the worst, I think, in the history of Weekend Update was what I watched this season.
I'd have to brush up on 7 through 10.
And I've seen those, and I think they're better than what he gave. Okay. Like, honestly, like he is probably my vote for the worst to ever do Weekend Update or any form of Weekend Update. It's him. It was bad. So I think he still would have been gone anyway. But I think you're right. He could have lasted this final episode.
Yeah, I think so. And then they hire Michael O'Donoghue. Actually, comes back as head writer. Dick Ebersol tabbed O'Donoghue. He wanted somebody to come back and help who had been involved in the first 5 seasons. And I'm a little fuzzy on the exact date as far as we know Michael O'Donoghue when he came back. I don't know if he had the meeting with everybody in this period between the March episode and this episode, or if that famous meeting took place over the summer. Do you recall maybe when that happened? Because I was a little fuzzy on when that meeting actually took place. Yeah, I feel
like he did a lot of crazy antics.
Yeah.
So, like, you talked the meeting with, like, the Danger,
and he dressed everybody down. Danny Dillon told Brad and Gary that he basically told the old cast, you guys suck, and the only one with any talent is Eddie.
Yeah.
So you guys, she said she felt like very dressed down by O'Donoghue, and he was just very, and she said respectfully because he's passed and everything, and she didn't want to be too harsh, but she felt like he was really just not nice. He was very mean to everybody.
Yeah, I think that one I think was here because it's very different because what I know for the Ebersol era is Bob Tischler as like the head writer. And so I didn't know how long O'Donoghue, even into season 7, kept it. And then he kind of, Dick Ebersol's like, enough, like, this is too crazy. But I think, yes, the first dressing down was there. And then I think he had antics throughout, his time. And he was really trying to take the show down in a way. And I don't know if that was his way of trying to come at Lorne or come at Hollywood or entertainment or just being anti-authoritarian, like didn't want to listen to anybody, but he was trying to bring the show down when he came back. And I think Lorne, part of me, I've read things where it's like, was Lorne trying to sabotage Ebersol by recommending O'Donoghue? Yeah. I don't think so. I think Lorne messed up, though. I think Lorne didn't think, I think he thought about Michael needs a job, and Michael's an old buddy, so True. Bring Michael back. And Michael was a part of the beginning and was helpful in the start of the show. So I think but it's also like, I kind of feel like Lorne should know Michael gave Lorne trouble, and Lorne is of the comedy world.
Right.
Like, Michael's not going to listen to Dick Ebersol.
No, not a chance. And we almost had Catherine O'Hara actually as a cast member here too. They wanted Catherine O'Hara to bring her on actually to replace Ann Risley. And Catherine was in that meeting. She did show up to New York. She was with Denny and Joe and Eddie and all of them meeting up with Michael O'Donoghue. And Catherine says that she just decided not to do the show because she didn't want to be in New York and all of that. There's some debate as to whether it was because she found Michael O'Donoghue a crass person, which I think she did from Denny's telling of the story. That might not be her official reason. Catherine said that she She did regret it though because she had taken the job, and she said it wasn't cool of her. She's like, yeah, it wasn't cool of me to like, take a job and then up and leave after that. So I think she had said that she did regret it a little bit.
I think that sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but just like God bless her soul, the late great Catherine O'Hara. I think knowing what I know about her, and I know you do too. That Canadian, she was very proper, so I think she looks back and like, that's not the right thing to do.
Yeah, right.
But I think she did do the right thing because she didn't sign up for Michael O'Donoghue in his antics.
Right.
And to me, it's like she's coming from what she knows, like, in Toronto and all those performers that she is like family with. The John Candys, the Rick Moranis, all those people, Dave Thomas, and then Eugene Levy coming to this, they're already under a lot of duress. It's moving to New York can be an adjustment for people. Some people move there and love it, some people don't. And then you get Michael O'Donoghue on top, and he's not just some random dude. He's the head writer. I think history's on her side. Like, she was right to be like, I'm out.
Yeah, I think for her career, she was absolutely right. You're right, though, like the Canadian about her, and she just felt like she didn't conduct herself properly, probably, which, understandable. It's, but for her career, even though it's definitely a what if for SNL fans, like what if Catherine O'Hara was on the show, for her career, I think she made the wise choice right there.
Yeah. I do think if she sticks around for season 7, her talent is so undeniable that we look like it's like Eddie Murphy and Joe Piscopo. I think there's a third person in there if Catherine O'Hara sticks around.
I
think
agree.
She's that good. Yeah.
She's so good. Yes.
Yeah.
And that was a little bit of a longer intro, a lot of longer intro than we usually have for these episodes because there's a lot to tell. This is like the last episode. It's a lot of story involved here. But I'm ready to get into this episode. Get into this interesting one. And before we do, I will preface this because I know, they'll hear us talk about the sketches. We have a lot of hardcore SNL fans listening to this show. We didn't have access to the episode that ran live. We had access to the Comedy Central rerun. So there were a couple of segments in this that are repeats from this season. We don't know how to access the original live airing. So it might be different if you're a hardcore SNL fan, this episode beat by beat, and you're wondering why are they talking about this or whatever. It's because just what we had access to, but we'll do our best. And I'm ready to get started.
Yeah, me too.
All right. So we start with a cold open. First person we see on screen, Chevy Chase. So instantly in the Ebersol era, bringing somebody back from the original 5 seasons, original 1.5 seasons in Chevy's case. So he's walking to his old dressing room. He encounters Denny Dillon, who tells Chevy that due to a lack of money, everyone has to dress in Chevy's old dressing room. So Chevy walks into the dressing room. He's checking out various SNL artifacts. We see the bee costume. He mentions the cone heads. And he picks up the shark head. So we're getting a lot of rush of nostalgia here. It seems like maybe Ebersol's really going for we got to hit him hard with Chevy and just this nostalgia of the old show.
Chevy, thanks a lot for getting me out of here. I didn't think anyone would ever find me.
Oh, Mr. Bill, what happened to you?
Oh, gee, we had a big party at the end of last season, and I guess I drank too much and I must have passed out. And when I came to, I was trapped in here and couldn't get out.
Oh, you poor little fella. Well, gee, everybody's been wondering what the heck you've been doing.
Yeah, it was interesting to see him coming back there. Loved seeing him pick up the shark. I mean, the whole, Jaws bit, which may be my favorite, it's top 2 favorite of what Chevy did on the show. I used to love that, land shark. Something I thought about, because I thought it was a nice thing to do. I say this cold open's nice. It's good, him and Mr. Bill and stuff like that. It was very predictable, but I think that's what you needed at this time in the show's history. I just kind of was seeing his the reaction the crowd gave him. I feel like since John, he winds up tragically dying pretty much a year later, and I think in my lifetime, when you think of the first 5 years, for a lot of different reasons, Belushi's the first person that he kind of represents that era. But I'm looking at this and I'm wondering, like, pre his death, was it still like Chevy was the first, like he represented the era to people, and then it kind of changed once John tragically passed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I kind of think Chevy did represent it, honestly. I think people looked at John and Dan as like a duo because of the Blues Brothers, because of everything. But I think Chevy, since he was the first breakout star and he did move on very quickly to try to have a career in Hollywood, I think people still did look at Chevy as maybe the face of the first 5 seasons of the show.
Right. And because I was just like, interesting to pick him. I know Bill Murray hosted last week. But I'm just like, man, I just really do. And knowing like John's still around at this point and had success with Animal House, the Blues Brothers. But I'm like, I feel like the crowd, like Chevy is still the guy they think of for us. And that would change. Because in my lifetime, Belushi's always down the first name that people go to because of SNL, like the first 5 years. But I'm like, man, I think the crowd, Chevy is still like their guy.
Oh, yeah, he got a huge pop. I think people love this segment. He pulls Mr. Bill out of a trash can.
Yeah.
Chevy starts having a conversation with him. He ends up knocking Mr. Bill's head off, doing all the Mr. Bill antics with Mr. Bill. He steps on Mr. Bill's dog. I actually thought it was nice nostalgia. I actually kind of thought the Mr. Bill stuff went on a little too long for me.
Yeah, it was okay. It was. I agree, it was too long. It was very predictable. Obviously, when you see Mr. Bill, but for what the time needed, I don't knock it. I would say out of 4 stars, I would give it like 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah,
2.5.
We do get a classic pratfall by Chevy. We got to do that.
They love those Pratt. Man, talk about probably the most annoying thing I feel like of the first season and a half that Chevy did. And he did a lot of great things. You know, no matter how you feel about him. He overdid the pratfalls way too much for my liking. Like, and right here, I'm like, geez, like, why? We don't need that here.
Yeah, the people liked it though back then.
They love those pratfalls. Poor Gerald Ford. You trip one time, and then it's just like, that's what you're known for. Like, you're clumsy, and you're a great athlete, honestly. Like, you're really not clumsy at all. But you trip one time, and then power TV, I guess. Cause
exactly. That's the world of politics and entertainment. Like with Gerald Ford, Howard Dean yells one time, and
that's what he's known for.
The trajectory of his whole life takes a turn.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's just what happens. So decent cold open. I agree. It's nice to see Chevy and stuff. That was pretty decent. We get an opening montage, a new opening montage with some new cast members, Jeremy. So we have my close personal friend Robin Duke added to the cast, Tim Kazurinsky, Tony Rosato as repertory players, and then as featured players, Emily Prager and Laurie Metcalf hired as a featured player. Do any of those names stick out to you, Jeremy?
I feel like I might have heard of that Laurie Metcalf person.
She went on to do stuff.
I think I've seen her like around. I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, obviously Laurie Metcalf, which this is like the only time she's really a part of SNL, but technically you could say she was a cast member of the show's history, which is like crazy to say, but like Laurie Metcalf technically was, even though for one episode, a cast member on Saturday Night Live.
And Emily Prager technically was too. Even that's more of a technicality than Laurie Metcalf. Even
true. Yeah, that's true. You're right.
Yeah.
It's bananas.
Yeah, Robin Duke, of course. I got a chance to chat with Robin Duke for SNL Hall of Fame. A great person. We saw her at Schitt's Creek recently. Tim Kazurinsky, I love. I'm a scholar. I'm a police academy scholar, Jeremy.
Scholar.
Scholar. So Tim Kazurinsky, part of the Police Academy series. Of course, we saw him in Curb Your Enthusiasm. He went on to make actually a pretty good mark on SNL.
I'm a huge Tim Kazurinsky fan as an actor, but as what he did on SNL, I felt like he was a good glue guy for the Ebersol era in his time there. And I felt like that's the kind of guy that they needed to build around Eddie and Joe was the Robin Dukes and Tim Kazurinsky, like a veteran, like Second City performer like that. Tim Kazurinsky really, I think, is an underrated performer in SNL history.
No, I always love Kazurinsky. And Tony Rosato is the other repertory player. We see a decent amount of him tonight, actually. And he would go on to season 7 and everything. So it seemed like they really had high hopes for Tony Rosato, too.
I think they went and were like, we had to out with the old and in with the new, but still the old, because the opening montage has the theme song from like the first season, like the SNL band. So I thought that was kind of interesting but cool, like to play that music and make you feel like, okay, like good times are back again here at 30 Rock. But I think right away we see that these were just better performers than what we had earlier in the season. I think this episode shows it.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, and we see up top the first sketch, which is Tony Rosato and Tim Kazurinsky. They're sitting at a table eating, and they're having a personal conversation with dramatic soap opera music playing every now and then. So they're setting it up as this big soap opera. And then we see the debut of what would become a recurring segment on SNL. I Married a Monkey.
Of course, I'll have to get it, right? Hello, who is this? Hello? Hello? He hung up. Madge, he hung up.
Tim having a dramatic scene with the monkey while the monkey is sitting eating a banana. Like, so what are your thoughts on I Married a Monkey? This is something that SNL fans, we know this sketch. So what do you think of this?
Yeah, I look at this as surprised that this happened in his first episode. I knew that he did this. I thought this happened season 7. We see it debut. The fact that the first episode he's on, he breaks out, I Married a Monkey. I never liked those kind of bits, but what I will say is Tim Kazurinsky was always very good at the monkey or chimp going crazy, and he would improv very well with whatever the chimp was doing. And so I can give him credit, like he was always good in that way. I know if you know the SNL lore and like the stories, like he's had some very scary run-ins with the I Married a Monkey sketch or recurring bit that happened. But kudos to him, because there's no way in hell I would have done this, because I know you could say they're cute or whatever. I know how strong they are, and I want no parts of that. So you could not pay me millions of dollars to do it. And I know back in 81 he wasn't getting nowhere near millions of dollars to do it. So kudos to him, because I would never do it.
That was one of the first things I thought too. I'm like, he's crazy. I wouldn't do this. I don't care if he has a handler. I don't care if it's a working monkey. Like, it's still nature, man. And it's unpredictable once you get that monkey under the lights and with the crowd. Like, how do you even know how and I think what was part of maybe the excitement for some people of probably watching this live is how do you know what's going to happen, right? And I think that's part of the lore too, is Tim wanted to do something like this to prove to people that it was live television.
Yep.
And this was always more of a kind of entertaining novelty to me rather than something that was funny. I never thought these were that funny, but to your point, I agree with you. It was almost like Tim was pretty good about improvising essentially off of what the monkey would do. If the monkey would do something unexpected, he might make a comment and move on or do something. So I think this was more of a novelty kind of thing always for me.
Yeah, because my memories of these sketches were that the monkey never was like playing it the way they wanted the monkey. Like the monkey sometimes in a sketch more than other times, but was always doing something off kilter, and he'd have to improv and improvise with it. And that was like pretty good and pretty clever, and it's that he kept it showing that this is live TV. Like, and it makes sense now. At first I was like, why? I had seen him say this, and I'm like, why was he saying that? But if you look at what we've been doing all season, there's a lot of like filmed segments and tape segments. So then I can see people being like, that show's not really live. Because especially if you've been watching season 6. So I'm like, okay, like I see why people were saying it, and I see why he wanted to prove, SNL, you don't know what can happen. Bringing that danger back that we got in the original year.
Yeah, and the most unpredictable thing I think that happened in the sketch was something that actually kind of made me feel bad for one of the monkeys. Is he went to go get their kid who had woken up. So he goes to retrieve a baby monkey, like a tiny chimp, right? And the chimp was scared. It was wanting to go back to its handler, obviously. And I just kind of felt bad for that little chimp, honestly, Jeremy.
I did too, and I'm just like, you see, Tim kept trying to like pick up and I'm like, just leave it alone, and just
exactly.
That's probably one time I wish the only thing I wish she would have improved was like that the baby chimp not wanting to come out and being like looking at the older monkey. See what you're doing to your child? It can't even stand to be in the same room as us. Like something like that to just let it go. Because I did feel a little bit bad. I'm like, this is too much here. Like this is just way too much.
Yeah, but the crowd sure loved it. This was probably Tim Kazurinsky's most famous thing he did on SNL. It was either this or this Weekend Update character that he would do, the doctor. It was, I forgot even his name, but I would guess this is the most famous thing
I
Tim
think
did
this
on
is
SNL.
the most famous. Yeah, I would go with this.
Yeah, for sure. So next we have Light Beer. So we open with Bill Cosby, played by Eddie Murphy, sitting at a table in a bar with 4 little kids. He's telling the kids they all had a long day, so they want, instead of lemonade or chocolate milk, we all deserve an ice-cold glass of beer instead of that.
Now, I hope y'all don't think I got some ordinary beer for y'all, because y'all ain't ordinary people. You're little and tiny, and you're short, and you're light. That's why I got light beer. It's a third less calories, and I know you're going to enjoy it here. See, this is going to be delicious. Have y'all ever drink beer before? What you mean, no? How old are you? 5.
This was kind of weird. I did think it was funny when he asked the kids, have y'all ever drank beer before? Like in this kind of almost Eddie kind of way. It wasn't even a Bill kind of thing to say. It was more of like an Eddie kind of thing to say. But I just, this didn't really do it for me at all. It's kind of weird.
No, it's weird. It wasn't written well. The kids seemed like not comfortable on there. Eddie, everyone knows like Eddie has a great Bill impression. We love that.
I didn't think this was the best Bill impression, though.
Definitely not his best. Oh, he's done better Bill.
Yeah,
sure.
I wasn't even that impressed by this impression.
I thought the Bill impression was still good.
Yeah.
But it was nothing, there's no substance. It wasn't written well. Mm-hmm. So it was just like Eddie doing that thing, like him just like put out your hands and blah, 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 blah. But like that's what kind of hurt it. Like if it was written better, it wouldn't be his best impression that he did of Bill, but it would have been better. Like he wasn't bad at it, I feel. Mm-hmm. It just was empty behind it. So it kind of fell flat for me.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't really understand the point. They're trying to do a visual gag when he pours the beer into the kid's hands to prove how light it is. But I just didn't necessarily, I agree with you, the writing just wasn't there for this. Yeah. We have, in our version, we had a rerun from the Karen Black episode. It was the 60 Minutes where they were investigating women who, lack of women who worked on 60 Minutes. I think you and Bill talked me into thinking this was better than I actually initially gave it credit for. So I have to give kudos. The universe is forcing me to give kudos to you and Bill again for, rewatching this and thinking about it. I'm like, this is a lot better than I actually initially gave it credit for. I know you and Bill liked it right away more than I did, but I think you and Bill were on the right side of history for that one.
Yeah, I'm glad because I think Joe does a really good Dan Rather impression, and it makes me crack up, and I thought this was one of the smarter things that we got, especially from like the writing staff all season long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, this was a good one. We have a musical performance next, and Robin Duke makes her first appearance on the show.
Hi, I'm Robin Duke, and you haven't seen too much of me in the show so far this week, but you're going to see a whole lot more of me next week, or so they tell me. But I do get to tell you about Saturday Night Live's original theme music, which you all heard earlier. It was conceived 6 years ago with a definite sound in mind, and that was the sound of tonight's musical guest, ladies and gentlemen, Junior Walker and the All-Stars!
Robin seems really nervous. She's kind of nervous energy, kind of flubbing a little bit. She does say that Junior Walker inspired SNL's theme music. So maybe the theme music up top, it was a nod to nostalgia, but it had an extra meaning because Junior Walker was the musical guest, and I guess he influenced. They wanted to go for a Junior Walker style initially in 1975 with the theme music. So Junior Walker and the All-Stars, they perform Roadrunner, and a song that I've known since I was a little kid that I didn't know it was Junior Walker, and I should have, Shotgun. I learned a little something, but I didn't know this was Junior Walker, Jeremy.
I kind of just had blanked out and forgot it, but I knew it because I've known this song forever.
Yeah.
I knew it. They use it, kind of a version of it, for I think season 5 and 6 of the Cosby Show later on. You kind of hear a version of like this, but Junior Walker, Motown, artist. Barry Gordy wrote
exactly
Shotgun, and one of the more like different type of Motown artists that back in that time in the 60s that Barry Gordy signed. But I thought the performance was really great, though. I was really jamming to it.
Yeah, I was jamming to it, absolutely. Shotgun's one of those classic songs where, I mean, Roadrunner was a good one, too, but Shotgun's one of those where I think everybody's heard in their lives.
If you haven't, you need to listen to it.
Yeah.
It's going to get you moving. Like, it is a great song.
Yeah, it's a great song. I said I owe him an apology because at the end of the episode last week, I was like, I don't really know who Junior Walker is, but I should have. That was on me.
No, I kind of blanked. I hadn't thought about him in a long time, honestly, but I'm kind of glad he's the musical guest because it's like, oh yeah, I do know him, and I know his work, and I feel like it's another person as well who my parents have an old like vinyl album, Junior Walker, and that's where I'm like, that's where I should know it. But yeah, he is definitely part of history, and was if that's true, I hope it is true what Robin said about the original theme song.
I have no reason to doubt it.
Yeah, so that's really cool, honestly. If that that it got inspired by Junior Walker, I think that's really cool. Fun fact that I did not know, until this episode.
I'm going to have to email Robin and let her know that you were doubting her, that you were accusing her of lying on national television.
I don't know if they just said it just to like, make him feel good or because he's the guest. Because I'm like, really? Like, I didn't know. But like, if that's the truth, that's really cool. That's a cool fun fact. So sorry. I did think it was cool that Robin didn't really have any place in the episode. But like, they did make, like, they let her come out and introduce, like, this. Like, I thought that was a cool way of, like, if you don't fit in some way, we're still putting you on air.
Yeah.
And kind of introducing everyone to Robin Duke.
Yeah, exactly. I love seeing her be the person to introduce Junior Walker. In our version, we get the classic Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood that we just fawned about when it originally aired. I have nothing else to say except that I just watched it again and had a great time.
Just watched it again, and that was when I knew something was up with our episode because I was like, what? And I'm like, I know there's no way that in 1981 Dick Ebersol was like, we're going to mix in older sketches from earlier in the season. We're going to plug them in. I'm like, there's no way. So then when I saw that, I'm like, something's going on here with this. It's a little funky.
Yeah, Comedy Central, the version that they have, SNL must have given them a recut version or whatever. But these are the only two, this one and that earlier one from the Karen Black episode, the 60 Minutes one, were the only two retreads that we saw. And I especially thought that because Gilbert's in this sketch. So right. He wouldn't appear.
No. That's a good point. Yeah, we just fired him, but we're going to show him again.
Exactly. Yeah, but classic. I just love any reason to watch that Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood. We get Weekend Update next.
I think just a firm and gentle tug on the string. Good evening, I'm Chevy Chase, and you still aren't.
Chevy Chase doing Weekend Update, and he opens with his phone gag. He says, I'm Chevy Chase, and you still aren't. I think he's very rusty, but honestly, even though he's rusty, and I still think that the writing wasn't that great tonight, I think he's still the best update anchor this season.
That's honestly, I've had those same thoughts, and I probably took it like some steps further where I'm watching this and I'm like, yeah, he's rusty. And I noticed that even more than the writing was like his rust with like delivering the lines, but was still able to like make fun of himself with the flubs. But I was watching this and I go, not just because of his story. I still think he's in like the top 3 of the best to ever do Weekend Update to this day. Like I put him like it's like Norm, Dennis Miller, and Chevy are like my top 3.
Yeah, I think he has a rightful place up there, and even when his rush shows, even when he has a moment where he flubs a line, he recovers. He goes into with it. He just like goes with it and speaks gibberish. That cracked me up. That really
was
cracked
hilarious.
me up. Yeah, it's so funny. And I think he had done that a few times too, like flubbing lines in the early days. And
Yes.
that always, I'm a sucker for that. That
Oh,
always
yeah.
gets me. So he's a pro. He recovered well. Even though, like I said, rusty, the writing wasn't great. I think a lot of jokes really weren't landing tonight. But
No.
he's still, I think his presence and his delivery was still the best that we've seen this season.
No, I absolutely agreed 100%. He just cracked me up, and I'm like, man, I always was like, we talk about the history of Weekend Update, of course, because Chevy's the first to do it, and probably one of the big, I feel like this and the President Ford bit, which we mentioned earlier, are like the top 2 that made him the breakout star. Like him saying, I'm Chevy Chase, like, and you're not, like, so you heard his name. And I'm just like, we've had so many people do it over the years, some better than others. But I'm like, wow. Usually, like, it goes away, like, okay, historical relevance, but there's been better. I'm like, there hasn't been too many better. I think it's Norm and Dennis Miller. The only 2 I would say maybe are better at it so far than him. He's that good at it.
I'm a Jost and Che guy. I think they are really good, and I think history's going to be on their side when they call it quits.
History, well, they're definitely, yeah. I think he does it better than them, honestly, still. But I think they're on like the Rushmore for sure. Like I would put Norm, Dennis Miller, Chevy, and then Jost and Che for like the Rushmore.
I think that's pretty fair. A lot of stiff competition, but I think that's a really fair thing to say for sure. Yeah. And we have a jam-packed update too. We have Eddie Murphy coming on as our first correspondent, as film critic Raheem Abdul Muhammad.
Thank you, Chevy Chase. Look here, last week I went to see Stir Crazy over at the Twin Theater on 42nd and Broadway. Now, I like Twin Theater. I see all my movies at Twin Theater, but I wish I ain't see Stir Crazy, because I was confused, see. Now, I don't know why people saying Stir Crazy is so funny.
And he gives a review of Stir Crazy, which was the Gene Wilder, Richard Pryor movie. Another shot at Richard from Eddie for burning himself. He kind of, this is at least the second time that he's kind of snuck that in there, kind of taking a shot at Richard Pryor. Jeremy, maybe it's because I forgot Stir Crazy, but this wasn't my favorite thing that Eddie's done. I thought it was just sort of for me.
No, not great. Just pretty much like you said, okay, nothing special. Yeah, well, it wasn't the best for him. It kind of was a weird, even though Chevy was really funny with his flubs, and it was a weird update with Chevy so far.
Yeah, and it's just, to me, this thing, the whole film review didn't quite make sense. The only funny thing for me, actually, was when he asked Chevy if he wanted to buy some Reefer.
Yeah.
that whole exchange was pretty funny. But that was an Eddie, like, I don't know. That was just Eddie being Eddie and not necessarily, like, the character being well drawn out, you know?
No. There's Eddie knowing how to save something, and he was trying to do that. And it was funny, but still, no.
Yeah. And then we have Chevy saying that Jimmy Stewart said he'd take a bullet for President Ronald Reagan. So they sent Laurie Metcalf, to ask people on the street if they'd take a bullet for a president. And if so, where?
Jimmy Stewart said when President Reagan was wounded that he would have taken the bullet. Would you take a bullet for a president?
Why not? It's our patriotic duty to defend our president.
Would you take a bullet for a president?
Nope.
No.
Who would you take a bullet for?
Take it from my mother, that's it.
So what'd you think of Laurie Metcalf's only appearance ever? Oh, not ever, I shouldn't say, but only appearance as a cast member on SNL.
The bit didn't work. It was like I think they fired the person who probably could have done the bit in Charles Rocket, if there was a Rocket Report. It totally makes sense because, I mean, in the month in between the Murray episode and this one, you have John Hinckley Jr. trying to impress Jodie Foster, and outside the Washington Hilton does an assassination attempt on Ronald Reagan. So, I mean, you have a historic thing that happened in that time off, and that happened on March 30th. So you're a couple weeks after, this episode is April 11th. So I know they're trying to kind of, and that still is the talk of the country, is what happened to Reagan and all that and how he's recovering and stuff like that. But I feel like it just kind of didn't land the greatest.
Yeah.
And I think like Charles Rocket was the guy who he's the guy to put out there for that kind of segment. Understandably why he's gone. I'm not saying bring Charles back, but then I would do something different and Lori was just she played it too straight, honestly.
Yep.
She wasn't funny, so it was just like she's just acting like a reporter.
Yeah, the answers were too straightforward for a serious comedic segment. There was no comedy. There was one guy who was kind of a character, but the answers just were bland. And then Lori says that what they did, I don't think they gave her much direction. She said that they gave her a script and a cameraman, basically, and went out there. And I don't think, maybe it's because they didn't give her direction, but it occurred to me that I don't think Lori understood the assignment necessarily, because you're right, she played it too straight, just like a reporter would. Like, she just went out and it wasn't a comedic segment, it was just like a news report. So
yeah.
I
think that's why Charles's background as a newsman, like a news anchor, it hurt him on Weekend Update, but it helped him on the Rocket Report because he knew how to do. He kind of had a fearlessness, which a lot of those, I don't know about nowadays, but a lot of those like reporters, like Eyewitness News for like your local like news, like they kind of are like, they go in there like it's a little bit of fearless. So like he could do that, and it was like, okay, like he's getting in there, like this is kind of real. And no knock to Lori, but like if you're not used to that, yeah, you're out in New York City in the element. You don't have security, and people aren't like, that's Lori Metcalf. Like, you're just some strange lady. You don't know what you're going to get. And I think that's what I got from her. Like, she's nervous, like talking to the camera, and she's nervous talking to the people too. Like, because it's just you don't know what you're going to get, and you need someone like Charles who was able to like bob and weave with it, and she wasn't able to do that.
No, it was still nice to see her, just as a bit of SNL history, I guess. And if you're a TV and movie fan, it's cool to see Lori Metcalf.
Very cool.
Yeah. Then they go to a real commercial break and are back with more Weekend Updates. So the network actually took a real commercial break, came back with more update. Chevy informs us that Generalissimo Francisco Franco remains deceased at this time. He's playing the hits, Jeremy, tonight.
You know what's funny, though? Because they've done it at the anniversary. I still always laugh at that joke. Like, I don't know. I still always laugh when I hear that for whatever reason, like years later. And I think it's one of my favorite, like, recurring things with the show. It's corny, and you're right. It's the hits. But I don't know why I didn't see it coming for this one. Because I cracked up, though. I laughed at that.
Me too. And it was just the way he delivered this, the slight turn of like he remains deceased, and he was more kind of proper with it. So I think there was maybe a little bit of a difference with this, but definitely playing the hits. And I'm agree with you. I don't mind it one bit at all. But the other jokes weren't landing at all. It was kind of hard to watch at a certain point. Like Chevy was just kind of flailing out there. It wasn't landing. But then we have, holy crap, Al Franken. On the screen. He comes in to do a report. He's on to talk about the new SNL staff, and as Chevy says, of course, himself, Al Franken.
You see, Lorne Michaels, the producer of Saturday Night, decided after last season that it was time to go on to different things. Now, he figured the first season had been great, and then Chevy left, and the show, of course, got even better. Then after the fourth year, Danny and John left. Now them we missed.
He sets the record straight, saying he's not involved with the new Saturday Night Live. Al's giving like a surprisingly accurate account of what happened behind the scenes at the show. Like, I couldn't really debunk anything that he was saying. He was just sort of giving an accurate account with all the drama behind the scenes. I like this for the most part. There's only one part that I had a problem with, but for the most part, I always enjoy seeing Al. I'm always a sucker, like you said, you're a sucker for the Generalissimo Franco stuff. I'm a sucker for when Al says, me, Al Franken. Like, I'm kind of a sucker for his delivery with that. But there's one part that I didn't like, but overall, I think I kind of, this did work for me.
I'm curious which part you didn't like, because I thought it was just like, it was really breaking down, real meta. And I give Dick Ebersol credit because he comes after Dick Ebersol pretty good here. But Dick, is okay with it. Yeah, come after me. I thought he called it like it was. And it's kind of like, ooh, it's not like ha-ha funny, but it's ooh. And it's real interesting. And it's like, it's one of the many things that makes SNL when they really do that, is when something goes wrong with the show and it gets like negative headlines, and them being able to poke fun at it and do it in a good way, that they've done throughout their history. And I think this is the truth. Like, you should have made that work with one of Lorne's writers, with a Franken, a Davis, whoever, to be running the show. No knock on Jean Doumanian at all, but you hire her with not a comedy background, and then you kind of like cut the budget. Like he's right to call it out. It's bad on all people's, like, especially NBC. Like, what they did was just a bad mistake, and it was no surprise that the season struggled. So I thought it was good that he kind of went after it.
I think maybe I'm a softie, but I thought it was maybe a little too harsh to Jean, because she wasn't there. They had fired her, so she's not even necessarily there to defend herself in any capacity, So I thought maybe it was a little mean to Jean, but maybe because we've given Jean a little bit of credit, and she was put in maybe a no-win situation. But I thought it felt mean toward Jean Doumanian. I
think he was coming at her. I think they had a sign of hurt with Jean Doumanian too, though. I'm not saying that that's right or making up for it. I think a lot of people felt like, well, you were the talent coordinator on the show. You were not part of us, but you were a part of us, and now you're taking this job, and they're not bringing Lorne back. So I think there was some animosity toward Jean. Not that it was right. They shouldn't. I don't think they should have had it, but I think that's just. That's how he felt, and a lot of other people. Because I've read other things where it's not just him. Other writers and stuff, people who were close to Lorne, felt like anti-Jean Doumanian.
Yeah,
I think they were anti-Fred Silverman and NBC too, but they took it out on Jean, and I don't think it's right. They shouldn't have, in my opinion, as far as I know. But I think he was just speaking his truth, honestly, at that point.
No, that's completely fair. And what I did really like, I love the capper on this when he's urging people to not watch the show because he wants to put it out of its misery. It's very funny. And then we find out, which is true, that he and Tom Davis were supposed to host the following week with the Grateful Dead performing, because that was a really big deal to them. They always wanted the Grateful Dead. I think they would push Lorne in the early years to get the Grateful Dead on the show. And they were actually going to host the following week. And I love how he says, watch that, but then stop watching after that. Right. So you could tell it was tongue-in-cheek. He doesn't actually want the show to go down. It's just all tongue-in-cheek. But I love how he's just like, watch our show, but then stop watching after I host the show next week.
No, absolutely. I love that. I love, because you see him next to Chevy, and he's like, we've been through some things. Chevy left after the first season, and the show got even better.
And it shows Chevy, and Chevy's taking it in stride. And it's
Because guess what? I agree. As much as I think Chevy did do great stuff in that first season and a half, the show is better when he left. And then he talks about Danny and John leaving after season 4, then we missed, and I'm like, he calls it like he sees it. That's very true. So he comes at, I think he is tough on. I can see where he comes from the Gene thing, but he's tough on everybody on this thing. So it's not like Gene got all the strays and then that was it. Like Dick Ebersol got him, Chevy got him, he got him. Like NBC got it. Everyone was getting it with this one.
Yeah, and I've always loved Al Franken. I love when he appears. I'm an Al Franken fan. I've read a lot of his books. I just enjoy Al Franken, and especially when he does update stuff.
Yeah, I agree. And this is a classic. I think the Limo for a Lamo is more known, and that should be known more. But this, to me, is a classic Weekend Update segment right here.
After Weekend Update, we have a parody of Fame. It's Irene Cara. She performs a song called Same, and it's Gail as Irene. Jeremy, I need a ruling on this real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Is this brown face? Because Irene is Puerto Rican, and I don't know if they were putting a little bit of tint on Gail's face or what. I was sitting there going, "What is this?" I don't know. So I didn't know. I was going to ask you for to help me with the ruling on this.
I'm going to say I can't. Well, honestly, history is not on their side.
History right.
Is that it is. I was going to say, to be fair, because like the way it's shot far away, there's some close-ups, so like it's not like the obvious ones that we've had this season. Because at times, like I can't even see who's doing it. Like I couldn't tell it was Gail at first because it was far away. I'm going to say yes, but it wasn't their intent, if that makes sense. I think it was just like the makeup trying to make it look like her, but they did a bad job. Like they went too far with it. So it is brown face. It's still wrong. I feel like unlike the other ones where that is clearly their intent.
It's been way more egregious this season.
Yeah. I don't know if this is their intent, but it doesn't make it right. It's still wrong.
Yeah. So, as far as the actual sketch goes, I don't love parody songs. Just in general, that's kind of one of my comedy things. Is like take Weird Al for instance. Like I think he's fine. Like he's a nice guy. He entertains me here and there. But I just in general don't love parody songs as just a comedy thing for me, especially on SNL. I think parody songs are kind of lazy on SNL. There's exceptions, of course. I'm sure I can find exceptions to it, but I just don't enjoy it. And I didn't like this sketch.
I think parody songs are there's no middle ground for them. They either hit or they miss. Because I can think of In Living Color, and they nailed those lots of times. Like, they were hilarious on there.
There was like a Crystal Waters. What was that dance song that In Living Color did that I thought was
Kim
good?
Kim Wayne's was
Kim
great.
Wayne's did, yep.
She killed that all the time. So, like, certain like Weird Al he was never middle. Weird Al songs either hit, I'm like, these are really good, or I was like, no dice.
I liked Amish Paradise. I thought that was a good, well-done parody song, but you're right. There is almost like no in between.
So this was like a miss. And I also think, like, history is not on there, which they can know, but, like, I still on classic radio to this day hear Fame played all the time. Like, it's a classic song. Like, it wasn't like a song of the moment, and then like now it's like people it's like, no, it's 46 years later, still a huge, like, people know this song.
Yeah, they do.
They know it. So I mean, I think it just it kind of missed, honestly.
That's a funny point that, history's been dunking on them for 45 years with this.
Right? Like, I still
agree.
Still hear it all the time. Like, and
absolutely.
Maybe the little bias is, it's not like one of my favorite songs, but I like the song. Like, I never was anti-Fame.
Yeah, and Irene caught it. Like, she performs it really well, and she... that was a hit for her, and they're making a point. I guess I would have been around there. I guess maybe it was everywhere that you went, but that's because people just liked it, and it ended up being. Yeah, I think it would have hit better maybe if it was just a one-hit wonder kind of thing, and it was just like came and went like a comet.
Right.
But that's a really astute point. Actually,
I'm like, it's what's wrong with this song, fellas? But I think. I kind of besides the brown face, the attempt, it was kind of like, okay, them trying something different compared to this season that I was like, all right, it's different, but it didn't land for me though. Like, and I do think you're right. Like musical parodies they're a tough act. Like you got to really nail it or it's going to suck.
Mm-hmm. I can't tell either if Gail was actually a bad singer or if she was purposely singing bad. Because Irene isn't a bad singer on Fame. So was that what they were going for? Or is it just Gail can't sing? Which is fine. Like you're a comedian and you're on SNL. You shouldn't be expected to be a great singer either. But I just couldn't tell what they were going for as far as the bad singing.
And you're right, because it's funny with like In Living Color and Kim Wayans, she sounded like, Crystal Waters and ha ha he ha ha ha. Like it was funny, like, but like like I'm like that. So you got to be able to like go with it. I don't think she doesn't sound like Irene, and then I'm like Irene sang pretty good on that. Like her voice seems good to me. So I think they were just reaching with this one. Yeah,
for sure. We love you, Gail. But yeah, this was a miss for us. Next, we have a promo for a new NBC series, The Self-Righteous.
Well, maybe if you cooperated, there'd be some more people out there that you wouldn't have to patch up later. I'm a cop, damn it. It's my job to protect them.
The Daily Press, I was wondering if...
No comments on this case.
Hey, I don't know what you're covering up in there, but those people out there have a right to know. I'm a reporter. It's my duty to tell them.
This really did not work for me. They're supposed to be playing self-righteous like the characters, but it's just coming across to me, Jeremy, as a standard dramatic scene in a TV show. Like they think they have an angle, but it's just coming across flat, like it's just some regular dramatic show. I can't see the angle.
Yeah, I thought the idea, honestly, Thomas, I thought could work.
Mm-hmm.
It's just me. It was almost kind of like too complex and layered, and maybe you needed more time with it. Because I thought it was interesting, and maybe this is me just overanalyzing, or I work in the social services field, so I'm like, it's like, everyone kind of, and I deal with it every day for the past 15 years, which is like, you're there to help people, but everyone kind of looks at their job as like, no one's got it tougher than me doing this, and you don't have it tougher. And then it's like, in reality, we should look at, we all have it tough and have empathy toward the other people. And so I thought, like, is that what they're saying here? Because the cop's saying he has it hard. Then the receptionist saying she has it. Then the surgeon. Then, like, the patient, Eddie, like, what about me?
What about me?
Like,
yeah.
So I'm like, oh, is that what they're going? But then I don't think that's what they were doing. But I thought that would have been interesting if they were. And then it kind of just, like, I started going, like, well, are they kind of coming at, like, I don't know, maybe this is me overthinking this, too, where it's like, we're in the, I hate to be political, we're in the new Reagan era here, and it's like everyone is me, and whining about stuff, so stop whining. Like, is that what they're trying to say? I really feel like I wish we had more time with this, because I don't know what they were trying to say. There were a lot of interesting things that I think they were trying to say, but it wasn't clear for me.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that maybe that's what they were going for, is like each character saying, well, what about me? I have it hard. But I don't know if it was self-righteous. I don't know if I would call that self-righteous. I don't know what I would call it. And I don't think they were acting. I think it was maybe too subtle for what was needed. I think there's a time for subtlety, and I enjoy like some subtle humor in my SNL as much as the next guy. But then there are other moments where subtlety doesn't help the sketch. I think a lot of times with parody and satire, I think you need to be maybe a little less subtle. And I think being a little less subtle here probably would have serviced the sketch more if you would have just been in our face with what you were going for. I think especially in like a 3 or 4 minute format, I think that tends to help. But I don't think you're reaching as far as what they might have been going for. I can actually see that and actually has a pretty good idea too.
Yeah, I was very intrigued by this sketch, but it didn't really land for me. But I kind of wish we had more time with it, and maybe it's an extended, like, trailer or preview for this show, or maybe it's not the preview for the show. It's just a show that's going to, and they give you like the opening of it or something. Because I'm like, this feels very like deep and meta, and I like it. But then I'm like, I don't. It just kind of just ends. And I know we talk. I'm trying to be a hypocrite. We talk about sketches just ending, but I'm like, I kind of wish we went more like with this. We got something else.
Yeah, for sure. So maybe good intentions, but just maybe didn't land as well as it could have. The next one didn't. Tim Kazurinsky and Tony Rosato. Tim's playing a guy getting ready for his wedding, and Tony plays his father.
Anyway, I was in Rome one time, Frank, and I see this guy in the street. I say, who's this guy? I recognize this guy. I look his face, it's just him. My look different. He telling me this story, Frank. He come home late one night, just one night, and this girl, she get married.
I haven't made this sound too often, especially since the Malcolm McDowell episode, maybe, but that's how I felt. This was maybe one of the biggest slogs of the entire season for me, Jeremy. Maybe the biggest slog.
This was slog. This was offensive. I mean, they're doing some things with the Italian-American community that makes Jersey Shore look like sainthood.
It being Tony Rosato, does that change anything for you?
No.
Not really?
I'm still, no, it doesn't change anything for me. Because it's like, and the thing, we get it, right? Like, and this, I'm glad we've been doing this because it makes me rethink, like, comedy in a lot of ways overall. I do watching these episodes with you because we know like an impression characters, they're an exaggeration. So it's like I do get that, but I'm like when I watch what they've done with like different like ethnicities and different like pockets of people, they're just going for the clear cut stereotypes that there's not really, in my opinion, any humor in. It's just what everyone says. It's not a realistic. And the thing is, hopefully everyone knows you can't pinpoint any group. So there's not like this is the way an Italian American family is. There's no, or this is the way an African American family is, or whatever. But it's like there's some things that like okay, like when you have real people from that group, you can get a more authentic sketch here. This to me is clear, and I know Tony Rosato is. I'm pretty sure Italian, but it's like you can tell, and I'll be shocked if I'm wrong. People working on this aren't Italian. Like you could just to me, you can tell they're not Italian, and it's just like and they use a slur in here, and I'm just like, well, why'd you do that?
Yeah, I'm surprised I understood the slur too, because for the most part I couldn't really understand anything Tony was saying.
No, it was a bad sketch, and I'm just like, I'm tired. I'm like, man, they are showing the first 5 years, to be fair, did this too. So like season 6 is an anomaly in these early years, but like the reputation that SNL had of misogynistic, prejudice, like they earned it and then some, because this is like, this is terrible.
And not only was it stereotypical, there was nothing funny in it. There were no jokes. It was just a conversation that was going nowhere. And it was 8.5 minutes, Jeremy. 8.5 minutes of this. That's why I'm saying this might be the biggest slog, because at least some of the other bad sketches were like 3 minutes. This is 8.5 minutes of just nothing. This is dragging hard for me. And it was excruciating, honestly. It was it was excruciating to watch.
You're right. And but man, they've had so many slots. I don't even know where.
Well, not 8.5 minutes, because I think the two that I can remember that were like 9 minutes or more, I think for the most part they earned their run times. Like recently, it was the sketch with Walter Cronkite and Dan Rather, and he's going on the psychedelic journey. That was like a 9-minute sketch, but I think or 10 minutes. But I think for the most part, and we even agreed they could have cut maybe a minute or so from it. For the most part, that earned its runtime, and it was actually fun to watch. This one's 8.5 minutes of just nothing.
It's worse than that country one with the country hillbilly
That one
family.
was at least bad enough to be more interesting than this.
I can say that, I guess, yeah.
There's at
That
least
was
maybe
long.
some story to
That
that,
was
and at
long.
least it was bad enough to where I was like compelled, like, why is this so bad? And it made me want to actually maybe look up
What about
the sketch.
What about the pig? The Charlene Tilton. Wasn't that a
that
long
was
one?
bad.
The pig sketch?
Yeah. Yep.
That was
the
pretty
Pig
rough.
Queens or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
long.
pretty rough. I think this was worse than that one.
I think the pig sketch is worse for me than this one.
Oh, wow.
This one's bad, but I think the pig sketch and the two we named, I think I still dislike more than this one. Because this one was more like, it's just flat.
Yeah.
And honestly, looking back on it, because we're doing this in, history, we have like time, it's like, sadly, I expect this kind of behavior for them at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm not as surprised as like some of the other ones. But
those are two different conversations, though, because I think like Where's Cooter was worse than this sketch.
Mm-hmm.
But I had more trouble watching this sketch than that, because that Where's Cooter was so bad that it was actually kind of made me lean in and being like, what is going on here? It was more interesting in how bad it was, whereas this one was just so flat that it was more excruciating to me to watch, because just I couldn't glean anything good or bad from it.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I think so. Sometimes something is so bad, not that it's good in this case, but it's so bad, at least you're more intrigued by it.
It's more intriguing. Yeah, that's a good word for it. Yeah.
I still think with this, I didn't look at the clock like I did with Where's Cooter.
Really?
And I didn't question, not that it should have gone on the air, but to me, I'm looking at the time, and I'm not surprised that this went on the air, where like Where's Cooter, I'm like, who allowed that on the air?
Right. Turns out it was Del Close that allowed it on the air.
And it's like, and we know Del Close is a legend, but like, it shows legends have mistakes too. Because I'm like, this is bad. So it's like that. I'm like, I don't know how did this get through, like, from the head writer to Gene to the NBC, like the networks and the censors. Like, how did you allow this to get this far? Here, I'm not surprised it got on air. I think it's just not good.
Yeah,
but
I'm surprised. I started because I thought it would be like, okay, this is bad, but at least it's going to end soon. And then it kept going, and then that's when I did look at the clock on the video, and I was like, wait, when did this start? And so I started keeping track, and I was like, 8.5 minutes. Wow. So, yeah, that was wedding day. But Tim Kazurinsky will see better days. I think Tony Rosato hopes he's better days than this one. But
I think so. Think so. But it's just it just shows to me, man, where people are like, why, when you have this comedy debate, and it's no right, because there's times where you can look at it like where from back then to now, you're like, or people maybe being oversensitive about it. But I think just even from other stuff, but watching this season with you, there's a right for the debate, because when there's nothing, what's your premise? And I feel like the ones that we've talked about this season, including here, if we could put them on the stand, on trial, they don't have nothing behind it besides you were just trying to find a cheap joke on fill-in-the-blank group.
Yeah, they just thought the characterization of the guy was funny, and that's not enough. That's just not enough, right?
No, and I think these are good examples of, like, that's why people get outraged, and this is 1981, which maybe some people might say that's a long time ago, but I think people who are like, oh, they're too sensitive, there you go, they go back to like Amos and Andy, like that was so long. It's like, no, it's happened all the way throughout comedy history, like this has happened. So and we've had many examples in this season alone.
Yeah, not good here. Next sketch is we get Joe Piscopo as a pitch man for the famous broadcaster school of cue card reading.
Are you thinking about a career in television? In the exciting world of TV, it's important to be prepared and to look your sharpest whenever on camera. That's why the first step to a successful career in broadcasting is the famous broadcaster school of cue card reading. It's a real art reading cue cards without letting the viewers at home know you're doing it. I know it's hard to believe, but I'm reading a cue card right now.
I guess there's an okay joke here with Joe very obviously reading from a cue card, but I'm just going to say I didn't like this one either, Jeremy.
No. Nope. Not really good. I think the okay joke was, we use cue cards on SNL, and he's reading a cue card, but now we're acknowledging it, so, trying to be meta.
We're going to teach you how to properly read a cue card while I'm not properly reading a cue card.
Right.
I don't know.
It was okay. It wasn't great to me.
Yeah, it was a rough stretch post-update here, right? After Al Franken, Al Franken, if he wanted to, maybe part of his jokey wish came true is stop watching the show. Maybe he willed some bad sketches to happen after his update appearance.
He for sure put some bad, mojo out there at 30 Rock because, geez Louise, it has, you're right, we haven't really been high on the show after him. It's been downhill.
Yeah, it's been 4 sketches in a row now that have just been kind of rough, honestly. And, maybe the self-righteous, we gave that a little bit of a pass because we thought there might have been a kernel there.
Yeah.
But still, it's just been a rough stretch. There's not much here. There's not even much to talk about in the sketch. We already explained it. So it's just kind of a lazy joke, I think. We'll see if we could end this episode on a high note, shall we?
Let's try.
All right, so we have a musical performance. We see Chevy on stage with Robin Williams and Christopher Reeve. That's kind of cool, seeing Robin Williams and Christopher Reeve right there. He says that SNL is on the come up and thanks Robin and Christopher for backing him. And then they just sort of walk off stage, Jeremy, and he introduces the musical guests. So it was kind of nice to see Robin and Christopher. I wish they would have said something. How do you have Robin Williams on stage and have him just not say anything? But, it was still, I guess, kind of nice just to see him up there.
He did that because, I forget what year the Andy Kaufman, special when, the old grandma's on stage and then, you think she dies, and then, it turns out it was Robin Williams the whole time. I think that was, a little bit after this.
Okay.
But, remember now, to be fair, Robin's in a weird spot in his career at this point. He's not the Robin Williams that we got to know in our age group.
He hadn't started Mork and Mindy yet?
He did do Mork and Mindy,
okay,
but that's what he has.
Okay.
And, Popeye didn't really get well received.
That was a flop, yeah.
Yeah, so he's not, he's known, his stand-up, he does that, but, he's not, the Robin Williams where I think 10 years later, there's no way Robin Williams is there and not saying
he'd
something.
He'd have been up there, Mr. Happy.
Right. I thought it was great to see, Christopher Reeve, there. Him and Robin were great friends at Juilliard, and, one of those things, I just like that because obviously we know what Christopher Reeve sadly became known for, what happened, 14 years later. But, I was someone at the time, I knew him from his accident and that he was Superman. But it was I've told younger people, he was a big star, this big 6'4", good-looking dude, who they picked to play Superman was Christopher Reeve. So he was a big star before what happened to him tragically.
Huge star. I sat near him at a Dodgers game when I was 9 years old, Jeremy.
Get out of town.
I did. Yeah, he was kind of in our section, maybe I think a little behind us. And they actually introduced him during the game. They showed him on the screen. They said, everybody give an ovation for Christopher Reeve. And he stood up. He got up and waved to everybody. And we looked back and we were like, oh my gosh, there's my dad's like, you know who that's Superman. I was like, oh, okay. Oh my gosh, that's Superman. And everybody was all excited. Yeah.
That's cool.
This is about almost 10 years, maybe almost 10 years. Well, a little past, it's 10 years after this. Is in 1991. It was Cubs-Dodgers in Dodger Stadium in 91.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
So,
a little past 10 years after, yeah.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, so he's a huge star. So he got a standing ovation at Dodger Stadium. And that was before the accident. That was when he was just Superman, and he got a standing ovation just for being at the game.
Yeah. I wonder at this point in 80 on the SNL episode, would you say Christopher Reeve could have been the bigger star than Robin Williams?
100%. He was the bigger star than Robin Williams.
Which I think now
maybe Chevy. I don't know. Christopher Reeve might have been a bigger star than Chevy.
True. You're right.
Honestly.
You're right. You might be right. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so no, it was cool to see them. Then he introduces Junior Walker and the All-Stars. They perform How Sweet It Is, which is a Marvin Gaye song, and What Does It Take, which is the second song that's a Junior Walker song.
What does it take to win your love? I better go.
Right, there turns out I was very familiar with 2 Junior Walker songs tonight, Jeremy.
Yeah. Apologies to Junior Walker and the All-Stars.
Yeah.
Apologies, but he I mean, it's just hard because Shotgun's such a great, like, get up and dance song.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to rank them, I'm going to go with the segment that had Shotgun in it, but this was still a really good song, like, performance here, too. Like, he's in maybe the top 5 best musical performers of the season.
Yeah. We'll find out next week where he is officially for us.
I was going to say that, yeah. I was thinking the same, yep.
Yeah, I'm not sure where I'll slot him, but this is definitely good. I do agree, but like, I'll have to put the performance with Shotgun in it ahead. But it was cool to see, like, he did the Marvin song justice, breaking out an old Motown classic, How Sweet It Is. I thought What Does It Take was good. Pretty good musical guest tonight. Actually, like, just excellent songs. Like, his performance was okay. Like, he wasn't doing anything too flash. He wasn't James Brown out there, but just like really excellent songs and very well performed. I think they did a great job with the musical guest.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he's older at this point than like he was, 20 years earlier when, or 15 years earlier when Shotgun came out and stuff. But what he's known for is the band. And like they're a great jazz band and kind of jazz band.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's known for that. And I think the band is the key. His voice is good too, but the band is what you're going to walk away with when it comes to Junior Walker and the All-Stars. And you get that tonight.
Yeah, for sure. So we get to our last sketch of season 6. Here,
Crazy.
Jeremy, we're here with the last sketch.
Man.
Yeah, I'm ready to talk about it. We have Tony Rosato, Robin Duke, Denny Dillon, and Joe Piscopo. They play a family who's collecting gun cards.
If your family's like our family, you'll love guns.
Oh, look, Daddy, a Smith & Wesson 44 Magnum revolver with quick-draw sights. It's the state gun of New Hampshire.
That's
well,
right.
I didn't know they had state guns, sweetheart.
Oh, sure, Mom. These wild country gun cards tell about them. Every state has an official state gun and official gun mottos.
And I remember seeing commercials for cards that had information on animals, Jeremy, and I had to look up. I went down kind of a brief YouTube rabbit hole because I'm like, where do I remember this format from? And they had these cards. I don't know if you remember them as a kid, wildlife treasury cards.
Yes, I do.
Where you would call in, like you can order, and then they would send you could subscribe, and they would send cards. And they had a commercial, and it's seared into my mind, and I think people my age, of a duck-billed platypus in the commercial. Like one of the cards the kid was excited about was a duck-billed platypus. So it was the wildlife treasury cards, and it was just it like unlocked this core childhood memory that I have that I hadn't thought about in 35 years, honestly. And then seeing the sketch, I was like, oh my God. So I was just transported back. So a lot happened to me for this sketch. This sketch caused me to go down YouTube rabbit holes and made me take a journey to when I was 10, and all sorts of stuff happened with the sketch, Jeremy. But also not the first time they've written commentary on guns this season. I thought that was pretty interesting, especially to end the night. They didn't know they were going to end the season with this, but to end the night with this.
Yeah. It just shows where the show was. I think where it's compared to now, it's such an institution, and I think some of the complaints are about it's too down the middle. Like they're too big. Where this is the 6th season, so there's still that edge to it, and like they're trying to come after some people, or seems like they're trying to. Mm-hmm. And so you're right. They've had gun conversation throughout the season, and kind of like a crime and justice kind of thing. And I feel like it's probably coming off of the election year and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And those were talking points Reagan, the crime is going rampant in your city. Like, so they're talking about all these different things. So I just think, like, that's a big reason why they were doing it. But, yeah, I noticed that, too. A lot of gun references and gun-related, like, gun-themed sketches throughout Season 6.
Yeah, and I like this. I think it was a pretty decent way to end the episode. It was kind of a crazy ending with Eddie walking down the stairs as a meter man, and you have, like, trigger-happy kids just shooting him, and when people get shot on screen in this era of SNL or even TV in general, it's more jarring than now. It seems like it's like more realistic back then.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. You're right. That's a good point. It is kind of jarring. Unlike the hospital like sketched earlier, I feel like you understood what they were trying to say. It was a lot clearer in this sketch. So it was classic Season 6. Like, there's no middle ground for anything that we're talking about. You'll get in the same episode sometimes, if not like the next one, a good example of something and then a complete awful example of something.
Right.
And like this is just classic Season 6.
Yeah, exactly. I thought this was a good example of it. Last time we'll see Denny Dillon. This is her last sketch on SNL. Tony Rosato, Robin Duke, and Joe Piscopo will move on to Season 7. But our last time seeing Denny Dillon, I'm gonna miss Denny. I liked Denny was very endearing this season. Jeremy.
Yeah. And we'll talk about it when we wrap up the season. But like, just such a interesting what if, and everything's happened for a reason, and stuff like that. But it's just she's one of the big, like, what ifs. If certain things were different, what would Denny's time on SNL be like, I wonder.
Yeah, I think she and Gail, but maybe even more so Denny. I think Denny might have overtaken Gail for me by the end of the season.
Yeah, I think I think so. Like you said, there's something about SNL. I think that works. Like, I'm not gonna compare her to Eddie, like, as far as but like, there's something about Eddie that you know it right from his movies and stuff. But even just trying to have a clear-minded, no bias feeling watching these episodes, there's a likability to Eddie that, like, he's funny, he's talented, but you like him. And Denny is funny and talented, and you like Denny. She's like, even though she's older than us, is almost like that's my sister. Like, and she could hang with the guys and crack jokes, but she's really nice and sweet. Like, so there's like a likability to Denny that's just makes, like you said, I think it's the right word, very endearing.
Yeah, and I'm glad she went out on a high note here with like a sketch that I enjoyed, and I thought she was good in the sketch too.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and then we have the good nights. Chevy and Tim Kazurinsky with the monkey was kind of endearing. I would have been on the other side of the stage, a tip of the cap, like respect to the chimp. I'd have just kind of looked at it and been like, hey, nice show tonight, and just kind of like nodded from a safe distance. But Chevy was down, like crouching down, like with like that's, I don't know, like brave of Chevy.
No. Hell no. It would have been a weird, because whenever that chimp, would have moved, it would have been a weird good night, because I would have been opposite. I would have been watching that chimp and, let's go over to the left now. I got to be to the right. And I'd be like, wrap it up. And once, like, he says, all right, thank you, good night, and they clap, I'm going off stage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think people get how scary, how dangerously strong those animals are. And people, like, they're so cute. If they just get you in a playful headlock, you're stuck. Like, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, and they will destroy your face without thinking about it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. There was almost an incident on SNL involving a chimp on stage with Jason Bateman.
Yeah.
I think at the Good Nights, he even pointed out that when he came back to host, that he showed a clip of the Good Nights, and this chimp, like, kind of almost fake bit at his face or something, and Bateman was kind of spooked big time. I'm like, yeah, that's nature being nature,
And that's why they're performers, I guess, because if that happened to me, at best, you might see me the last sketch of the night. I'm shook the rest of the night. I'm like, I need to calm down. I need to go lay down right now. Like that, that just had me freaked out. So no, like, Chevy doing that, I'm just like, man, oh man, you are. I don't care that there's a handler there. That doesn't mean anything to me. Like, I'm just like, no dice with that. No,
no,
can't do it.
And then I don't think Gail singing the parody song to Fame was necessary to close the show. I thought that was just kind of, they should have just wrapped it up with the good nights and everybody waving, and then that was that. So that was unnecessary to me too.
Very unnecessary. It almost made me think if she knew the writing on the wall and was just like, let's just go out with doing something different.
Yeah.
Because very unnecessary. Didn't land, but I felt like that was just, that's what I thought. I could be wrong, but I thought it was her just saying the ship be sinking, so I'm going to go out my way.
Yeah, for sure. And we've been ending these episodes with areas of improvement and reasons for optimism. We're going to skip the consulting portion of the show because this is the last episode of season 6. So there's nothing to consult on at this point. We're just, as consultants on season 6, this is almost like a no-show kind of week for us. We're still getting paid because we charge them for every episode, but it's almost just like, yeah, we got nothing for you guys because, this is just your last episode. So we just went there to watch the show as consultants, got paid, and didn't really give any feedback. But since this is the last episode of season 6, I just want to know like your overall thoughts on this particular episode, like what you maybe thought it might be going in, and what you think of how it came together.
It's interesting if I take out like my bias. Like it's not a good episode. Like it's a struggle, but it's also, I can see like they made, as far as the cast, they made some moves of getting some more solid ground performers in there, like who like can get the job done if needed. And I think that was lacking with certain, where I'm like, you have people who just can't do this job or do this part. So like you need people who can at least, if they're not like the character performers who stripe it and star, you need people who can get a job done sometimes. And so you can tell they brought that in. It's a little bit of leniency because it is a new era. There's a new producer, Dick Ebersol, and so it's also like we don't. I mean, we do know, but if I'm back in '81, we don't know like what to expect. Like I do like some of the moves. Like he got rid of some people who needed to go at the time. I agree with that, and he got some people who I'm like, at least they're steady, But we don't know yet. You could see Eddie and Joe were the guys. So it's like there's hope for there, and we know what happens in the future with Eddie and Joe. So I look at it like it's kind of two things. We start the Ebersol era, and we honestly start the Eddie Murphy era. And I don't say that lightly because I really feel like there's only a few cast members in the history of the show where I'm like, it was that person's era. I think Chevy had that in the first, like that was his time. I think Eddie had that. And I think, honestly, Will Ferrell had that. Like, it was their era. So it's the Ebersol era and the Eddie Murphy era starting.
Yeah, this episode in particular was a weird limbo, strange feeling kind of episode, and just interesting to see you have a mishmash of people who this is the only episode that they ever worked together. Like the last sketch, you saw Robin Duke and Denny Dillon in a sketch together,
right,
and that was the one time. Seeing an episode that had Gail Mathias and Tim Kazurinsky like in the same episode, it's an interesting bit of SNL trivia. It's like we have this one episode where there was this overlap, and then we would see Gail and Denny not being on the cast anymore. But it was very weird, and I think especially post update didn't land. I think the last sketch kind of saved it, but it just didn't land post update. But it was a very limbo, but you can see the transition happening. So just an interesting sketch in SNL history, but not, maybe if you're just looking at it on content, not the best.
Well, they reference it. Chevy makes a reference in his update piece, but the reason why Franken and Davis and the Grateful Dead didn't come in next week is because there was a looming writer's strike, and that writer's strike is the reason why they don't come back.
Yeah.
For the rest of season 6 under Dick Ebersol. It wasn't NBC or him even. He was a big reason for the month break between Gene's last episode and his first. Why they don't have any more is because the writer's strike is official when it happens. And I wonder, what do you think? Say the writer's strike, they figure it out, and then just in time, and then they're able to continue I feel like they probably would have had at least 2 or 3 more episodes.
Yeah, what is it, April? They usually
April
end
11th
in May.
here.
I mean, probably at least 3 more episodes.
Yeah. So, like, do you think, like, the writer's strike was a blessing in disguise, or do you think, like, it would have been, you would have seen it getting better if they would have kept going?
I think it was a blessing in disguise. Because I think you had a lot of people still working on the show who were maybe just kind of tired and who needed, and you had new people who were still trying to find their footing. And I think the break into next season, into season 7, gave them a chance to find their footing a little bit and develop a little bit more. So I think this was a blessing in disguise. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Ebersol in his book maybe said as much, that that it actually worked out. That
he
happened
did
that
say
way?
he has. I just wonder what
I
you
agree with
think.
him. Yeah. I definitely.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think so. I think the big question for me is if there's a few more episodes. Now, I mean, I think he saw 2 for specifically Denny and Gail. If they have a few more episodes, could they have done enough to persuade him that they should stay? Is what I would always wonder.
Yeah.
Now that
Oh,
I wouldn't have thought this before watching the season, but now that we've completed the season, I kind of wonder. I think you're right. Overall for the show, it's better that the writer's strike happened. You know, SNL was a benefit from that. But I kind of wonder for those 2 in particular, because then also they have better cast members around them with Robin Duke and Tim Kazurinsky coming in. So it's like, you know, I think that would be a plus right there, like their work, especially that last sketch we just talked about with Denny working off of, like, you know, Joe we know is solid, he's been there, but working off of, like, with Robin. I mean, Robin? No, it wasn't Robin.
Yeah, the last sketch it was 2 new people. It was Tony and Robin, and then Denny and Joe. So it was like split, like 50-50 new and, you know.
Yep. So like it was better because you need people to work off of. So I just wonder, man, maybe if they had that, their fortunes could have been different for SNL.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I think they could maybe talked Ebersol and whoever the people were making casting decisions, be like, you know what? Yeah, let's retain Denny and Gail. And they might have developed a good rapport with Robin. They might have, you know, just a lot of stuff could have happened. So that is a big what if as well.
Yeah. So it's just, I don't know, man. I know we're SNL historians, SNL nerds, but this is just all. It's fascinating to me, like what goes on behind the scenes for this last bit of season 6 just has me hooked all the time.
Oh yeah, super fascinating, and I urge people to go get Dick Ebersol's autobiography if they haven't already. That it's a really nice read. It was a good resource. That's how Jeremy and I came in contact. Jeremy was on the SNL Hall of Fame for the Dick Ebersol episode, and it's just a fascinating read. An interesting guy, and this is definitely an interesting era of SNL. For sure. So next week we'll maybe get more into that as we do our season 6 wrap up. And in Pop Culture 5 fashion, Pop Culture 5, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts,
wherever,
we'll gamify things a little bit. So we want to do our top 5 in various categories: top 5 sketches, top 5 musical guests, top 5 cast members, what have you. So we're going to gamify it a little bit, break season 6 down, wrap it up, top 5. Maybe we'll talk about how things were looking headed into season 7 and what was in store for season 7 as well. So we're going to do a little season 6 wrap-up show next week.
And don't worry, we're going to keep it brief on our top worst sketches.
Yeah.
We're not going to do like a top 20, even though we could.
Right.
We're going to keep that still pretty brief. So don't think it's just going to be 2 minutes of the other stuff and then the rest of the time, just what were the worst sketches? Like, even though that technically could happen, but we're not going to do that.
It's going to be mostly highlights, honestly.
Highlights.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm looking forward to that, man. We'll see you next time.
Absolutely, man. A lot of fun.
Thanks for listening to the Not Ready for Primetime Project. Be sure to subscribe and follow wherever you listen to our podcast. You can also follow us on social media everywhere at NR4PT Project. Thanks for listening. Good night and have a pleasant tomorrow.